You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Orange is the New Black After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Orange is the New Black After Show.
Hit it.
Mo, the animal. Trap, 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 till the cage is full. The cage is full.
He's good.
Yeah, guy.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to the second season of Netflix original series Orange is the New Black. I'm your host, Thaddeus Massey, and this episode is called Hugs Can Be Deceiving. Joining me today is...
Hey guys, it's Emma K.
What's up? It's me, Megan Thomas.
Yay, Megan's back.
Yay.
Yay, I finally had someone to sing with here. We missed your singing so much.
And who are you?
Scott Moore.
Scott Moore.
I'm back.
Yes, Megan is back with the vengeance, as you can hear on the song.
Yes. Did my
The
singing
title, you did a great job.
Did it get better
High
this
five.
season? My singing, is it better?
It's right where it's supposed to be. Okay, so the first two episodes we kind of went in a like chronological order of the episode. Like there's so much detail like with each character. So let's kind of break down each character's like story,
Right.
You know, per character, so to speak. I guess this episode, if you guys want to kind of do it like that. Piper returns to Litchfield.
Dun, dun,
Let's just
dun.
talk about Piper,
Right.
and then we can talk about all the integral, interweavings as we go along. But she returns to Litchfield, and you would never think you would see somebody so happy to return to prison in their life. Piper is like, oh my gosh, I'm happy to be back.
She should be. This is her new home.
Right, and especially where she just came from there. And
Yeah.
Well,
it
if
was
she hadn't
federal.
screwed up last episode, she would have been
Right.
home instead of back at Litchfield. So
I don't know. I mean, would she have been back home? We could assume that she did.
I mean, if Alex
If
got
Alex-
out, Alex had done more dirt
Right.
than Piper, then
you have to
Piper
assume she would have
home.
been. Mm-hmm.
Alex is
Piper was
just.
just an accessory.
Right.
to-
Yeah.
Her crime was a little less.
This is
Exactly.
true. This is true. Okay, so Alex is, needless to say, pissed off.
You said Alex?
Alex?
I'm sorry,
Piper.
Piper. Alex isn't
I'm like,
pissed.
why-
Alex,
she's free.
Alex is at home sipping a
Right.
margarita right now, right?
Right.
Okay, Piper is pissed
Yeah.
off,
Right.
and she should be. She's venting and she's happy, but she's pissed at the same time. It's a very bittersweet type of situation / scenario going on here with her.
I feel like she comes back very hardened, Now
Right.
She does.
She's just no longer the kind of innocent, naive.
Season 1.
Yes,
Piper.
Piper.
Not
Season
that
2
girl.
Piper is coming back in, and she's hardened.
Right.
You see how
Not wanna
everybody
put up
looks
with
like
crap. Exactly. They're scared of
wants
her
it.
now. They don't, and she doesn't want to put up with crap anymore.
I mean, she has a reputation now.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's been talking about her, and she is the beat down queen. Like she
That crazy eye is scared of you.
right.
Right.
But what's crazy is it's not like she didn't beat up somebody that wasn't like formidable, like a
Right.
formidable opponent. Like Pennsatucky is a certified nutball. And everybody was like, Pennsatucky's crazy. Like, even though no one was really like scared of her, she was certifiably certified.
Right,
She's scrappy,
right.
and she's scrappy, and the
Right.
fact that she beat the crap out of her,
Right.
So
and I don't think
we
anybody
saw that.
expected that out of Piper.
No.
So it was like the total shock factor also of the, just the fact that it's like, wow, it's not like she just won the fight. She beat the crap out of her.
And it kind of also proves that anyone to a certain point, once they cross that line, can
Right.
do serious damage and things you would never think people are capable of doing, they would do.
So what's so funny and ironic about how they set this up with this episode, they have like a new flock of inmates coming in.
Right.
and then you have like the new Piper,
Brooke
Yes.
Soso.
Brooke Soso.
Oh my God.
And her mouth runs 1,000,000 miles a second, and you're like, oh my gosh, if someone doesn't like stuff a sock in her mouth and shut her up, I swear.
I
It's
want to know
so
like how
annoying.
bad her crime was.
Me too.
Like how bad was it? Because she seems too sweet to have
She
done
does.
something so horribly bad.
I think she was probably caught in the same scenario as Piper, where it might have been her
probably.
friends and she was just there at the wrong time and happened
Right.
to be, you know,
That's what it
caught a
seems
part of
like.
the crowd. Because she doesn't
Right.
she seems smart,
Right.
but naive.
Right,
Just
right.
like Piper was.
Yeah.
So it's good to see a mirror image of her, and season 2, Piper is completely different in her personality and how, you know, the approach that she takes. So it's a reminder of who, you know, she was when she
Right.
first got in.
I don't know. I'm curious to see what she actually did, because I feel like they're going to take us on a whole other, you know, they're trying to make us think that way, and she probably did something really crazy.
Right. Brooke Soso might be
Yeah.
a little.
Well, we still don't know what the rest of the inmates did.
Right.
I want to know what Crazy Eyes did.
Yeah, this,
Yeah,
I feel
there-
like this episode
Right.
did not do Crazy Eyes justice.
No,
I wanted
at
to know why
all.
she was crazy.
Me
We didn't
too.
find that out.
I have a lot of issues with her backstory.
Right.
A lot of
Yes.
issues, actually.
Yes. We do get into her backstory actually this episode, and we see a lot of struggles that she experienced from the time she was a child.
Right.
Go ahead, Scott.
No, I didn't, the whole scene when the baby sister was born, it just felt very contrived when the nurse came over and comforted her, and it didn't really explain things. Everyone goes through that too, you know, having a new sibling, and that's
Right.
a typical reaction. So I was like, okay, that felt contrived in that
It
little...
was a setup though for the audience, I think, just to have her like seem like a normal little 6-year-old,
Yeah.
but then the way the parents kind of treated her was like she was special. Like special.
But that's
like,
what I'm saying.
in a
There's
special
too
way.
many questions. It
No.
doesn't explain why, because you see her spazzing out as
Right.
a 6-year-old, but you
Right.
don't
But that's
understand
normal.
why did she go. Like, I feel like she went a little too much. She was already too clingy with this baby. Like, this baby's mine.
Right.
So does she have abandonment issues? Like, they didn't answer
No,
that
they
for
didn't.
me.
Well-
So I didn't understand why is Crazy Eyes crazy.
Well, she's 6
Exactly.
years old. Okay, 6-year-olds can throw tantrums.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That
They
was
can
normal.
be considered yeah, exactly. That could definitely
but what does it
She was
explain
like-
about her?
It doesn't really
That's
explain.
what I'm saying.
That's what we're saying.
That's
No,
the
it
whole
didn't-
point. Nothing,
Right.
that her backstory doesn't. All we find out is that she's adopted. Her parent. She's had issues, of course, being a black girl, being raised by 2 white parents. She's a little off.
I think-
that we don't understand why she's off. We just see the differences. Like, okay, yeah, she doesn't look like her sister. She
Right.
doesn't look like the little girl she's playing with at the
Yeah,
slumber
the
party.
slumber party.
But that doesn't explain why she's
No,
off.
and that story
I
like
mean, I
that she
think
did
it's just
was
medical. I don't think there is anything, you know, it has to be obviously genetic or something from her biological parents. So,
Well, that's what I'm
But
saying.
that's- they didn't explain that, though.
They should have explained that in the storyline, because that would have made us go, oh, that's why she's crazy. Or
Right.
that's why
Okay,
she got
maybe
adopted.
they'll bring this up later. Hopefully, we'll see if they bring it up later. But I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say that based on the socioeconomic background that she comes from, and then her being a black child, just the nuances of everyday life and how she was treated, because we see later how she was treated when she went to the birthday party, just the littlest nuances for somebody who's growing up in an environment that's totally different than what they are, can probably make somebody make them crazy to a certain degree, make them off a little bit. Because there are instances, even in season one, where you can see that she's really smart. She's
Right.
really intelligent.
Yeah.
She's not like a dummy. She has like, it seems to be psychological and emotional issues.
Right.
You know, so
Obviously.
right. But I don't really take it as she's slow, even though she has moments obviously that she comes off like she's slow or whatever, but she's really intelligent. I just think over the course of so many years and somebody being treated a certain kind of way, it could make that person somewhat crazy. And as she got older and got treated different in an environment that was so unlike her, and she doesn't understand it. And you saw her mom at the birthday party was like, I want her to grow up like every other child and be afforded the same opportunities, kind of blah, blah, blah.
But I don't think there's anything
That's
wrong
what I'm saying.
with that.
Right, and it was normal. Like her
there is
parents were
nothing
being
wrong with
very
that,
supportive.
but
It's
you got to
how
remember
was
that she lives in a
accepted
world
by the
that's
society.
not accepting of that,
Okay,
even
and
though her
that
parents are accepting.
That's what I'm saying. I get that.
Right.
And I get
Right.
that how that.
And you see how the little
in
girl treated her at the party.
Right. She called her stupid for her
Yeah.
dragon story.
Right.
But that doesn't explain why are you
that's
talking about a
typical
dragon
children.
story at 10 that is
Right.
scary and dark and evil.
Exactly.
But
But
she-
That's
Children-
why she called her stupid.
Yeah,
because that was
okay,
scary.
okay,
and they're
okay, well,
kids,
first of
and
all-
the kids will do that. She doesn't
Okay.
say anything bad
she
about
didn't have
her.
a pretty princess
Okay, well,
story.
first of all, she's 10, so she's older.
Yeah.
And the other little kids are
like
6. So when you're 6 and everything you want to be
Right.
fairy
But
tales,
they
and when
didn't
you're 10, you get a little more like,
But they
you know.
didn't say anything that was outlandish or anything that would have made, because that's, again, to me, that felt like typical kid
I
stuff.
think
And the fact
What
that
they
she
were-
always smacks her head, that's
Yeah.
is psychological.
That's later.
Okay, but
That's very-
even-
yeah, that's
even
psychological.
Still, I wanted
Yeah.
to understand. Yes, we see that Crazy Eyes says that her mom pushed her to do things she didn't want to do.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, parents do that all the time,
That's what
though.
I'm saying. Like that's
That's
it.
typical.
So that's why you're crazy. Like that's why you act.
Yeah,
really
but it's
weird.
not. It's
Is
not.
it-
it's coming out of her comfort zone and stepping into. I think her mom wanted her to be more accepted than she did. She was okay, probably just
Right.
playing with her
Right.
sister, not caring about anyone else. But her mom, wanted her to sing. She wanted her to
Be accepted, right.
be
Right.
accepted. So that pressure of not being accepted, and your mom wants it so much. I mean, I'm guessing it could drive you nuts.
Okay,
And maybe her
and
mom
that I
never,
get.
maybe her mom never really addressed it and was like, "No, you're fine. You're normal like every other girl." And she
Right.
knows,
Right.
like, I'm not like every other person in our environment. And I mean, you see when she was a little girl, her hair was crazy. Like the nurse had to come and fix her hair. Like the mom obviously didn't know what to do with it. She was like, "Well,
that
she's
is
not a
like
baby anymore." I don't-
Typical mixed baby issues.
Right.
Or typical, when you're with parents that are different
Exactly.
race. Yeah, my mom didn't know what to do. With
So
my baby.
exactly. So
She's
it's
Korean.
it's like she's dealing with things that she doesn't understand for she's a child for one, and then she doesn't have anybody of like culture to explain to her or show her, explain these things to her for her to understand.
Right.
It's just I think it can make somebody be a little off. I think. It could when it's perpetual and you live and you're surrounded in that environment.
Okay, I agree with that, but I do think that there is probably a touch of like autism or something they should have.
There's definitely a
there's something
psychological.
else there that I feel like
It's
they
not
should
just
have.
that.
Exactly. There's
Yeah.
something else about Crazy Eyes. There's
And,
something about
no, there is.
Suzanne.
And the other issue I had was, then they just barely touched in with the high school graduation, and
Yeah.
she goes crazy about singing, and I'm like, okay, so there's something going on there. And then the other issue I have is from season 1, where her parents come to visit her in prison, and they're like super old, and then they show graduation being 2000. I'm like, so their whole that doesn't line up to me either. So I feel like there were a lot of holes and a lot of issues they had with Crazy Eyes' backstory and her parents and everything else. So I felt like they just sort of glossed over it and
Right.
didn't put the time and attention to detail, which is
Do you
something
think
they've
the
been
writers were
very
a
good
little
at.
lazy, Scott?
I don't want to say they were lazy. I just think that they didn't.
Do their due diligence on
They
the
didn't
story.
think about it, because it's easy when that happens. You see that a lot of times in a lot of shows where the writing is off and years are
Right.
off, and so that's normal. But it just felt like for a show that's so good on the details to kind of make that blatant thing with the parents from last season, and then realize it was 2000 when she graduated. I'm like, okay, that was 12 years ago, 13 years ago from when this took place. It just didn't line up.
Okay, well, imagine
maybe they
if
had a hard
Crazy
life.
Eyes was your daughter.
Right.
So now all of a sudden
You probably
I'm
have
gonna
some grades
age.
too.
And
like
then,
being president of the United
and then
States.
we don't learn why she's in prison. That's the other issue I had. Hopefully,
Yeah, I
I
did
mean,
too.
I'm sure they will tell us, but
Right.
I feel like
I think they're prepping us for it because of her anger management
Yes.
issues that she has. You know,
Yes.
throwing the tantrum with
Right.
the baby sister, the graduation, and I think they're setting us up
Yeah.
for something that has to do with anger management.
Right,
I'm guessing.
Right. Yeah. That I do agree with. But they didn't quite give us enough on her backstory
Right.
or anything in this episode.
They didn't. And then go
Well,
ahead.
If you think that the writing here was great, you should try and read this book because the writing in this one is even better. This is Maria Menounos' brand new book, The Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness. Maria Menounos is the reason we have AfterBuzz TV. She is the founder and owner of this place, and you should check out her new book. You can go on Amazon. You can go. Where else can you go?
Barnes and Noble,
Barnes and Noble. Everywhere,
bookstores
yeah.
that
Search
still
Anywhere a
exist.
bookstore sold.
right.
Make sure you get this book. It's amazing. She talks about her fat loss journey because, honey, 40 pounds, and she looks like, boom. You need to get this. It's
Flat
good.
tummy.
Yeah, she gives a lot of good tips.
She does, and it can work for guys too.
It can.
Take it from me.
Have you tried it?
I have. And I was like her. I've lost 40 pounds.
Me too.
Gained some of it back.
Yes.
But I've lost some,
High five.
gained. So that's a good book for guys too.
Right, for the former fatties. And if you like this after show recap, make sure you go to iTunes. Right?
That's right. Yeah, you can definitely go on iTunes, rate us, of course, give us 5 stars.
Yes, 5.
Right, and comment. Let us know what you guys are thinking. Ask some questions. Answer some questions we have from this episode here. Let us know your thoughts. We love it. We love to hear from you, and we thank you for your support. So.
Yeah, you guys can also call in, comment, or ask questions. Marissa, what's the phone number here? 424 something.
424-253-0504.
424-253-0504. 424-253-0504. Because we're in Studio C. So I had to learn the number, so my bad. Thanks, Marissa, for bailing us out on that one.
That's right.
And getting back to our story. So Suzanne and the head slapping really irks me. It's disturbing.
But yeah, but I feel like
it's like, no, don't. Oh, you're gonna hurt yourself. No.
But I love the fact that we now understand like what really happened in the snow.
Yes.
Well, really?
Yes, the real story.
Because the last season we just were like, with Pennsatucky dead?
Exactly.
The bones crunched.
You know, I think that's why it's really important to get her backstory, because she has some anger, and you know, I think it has to do with white. You know,
what was I say with her mom?
Female
I was
specifically because she wasn't accepted by Piper. So the first person she sees, that's who she takes her anger. And
well, she reminds her of her mom, obviously. That's what it was, because her mom looked similar, you know, the white, waspy, blonde hair. And so she just kind of went crazy and thought of her as her mom and went, because she even says that in that.
Well, that's all she was seeing, obviously, when she knocked her out. And, you know, she was Maritza and Flocka were making fun of her. I mean, you have to get bailed out, like she said, you have to get bailed out by the lady who doesn't talk at all at the Christmas play.
Right, how bad.
Right, now you're like, now it's like even worse. But she came out, you know, she came out feeling good, but then the girls made fun of her and she lost it.
Right.
And so we see what happened and how Piper ends up being grateful for the beatdown.
Yeah, because it helped her out. You know, it really did in that weird way, but it really does help her out.
Right. So obviously she punches pretty hard because Piper couldn't remember what happened.
Right.
Until later, when Piper approaches. I mean, when Crazy Eyes approaches her, which I'm getting used to not calling her Crazy Eyes anymore.
Yeah,
right.
Suzanne.
I'm getting used to calling her Suzanne, so I like her name being Suzanne. You know, so another level of respect because we're starting to learn more about.
But again, it shows someone snapping again, you know, and what they're capable of doing when they snap, you know, and there she goes and really beats the crap out of Piper too.
Right.
Yes. So we have a new villainess, I would say. I don't know, somebody who's stirring up trouble, and she's known as V. It's like the villains always have this one, and maybe V, that's what V is for villain. I don't know. That's what but there's always, you know, like there's always one letter. For like these criminals or like the bad guys. Like there's one letter. And
I don't think she's a villain. I think just like everybody else, she's got a good and a bad side. Everybody, you know what I mean? Like everybody has good intentions, but they mess up. I feel like she's.
I just feel everybody has an agenda, and
Right.
we're learning what everybody's agenda is, and she has a particular agenda that we're learning
I don't
about.
see her as a villainous just because of her agenda.
I don't know if she's on the above board here. She's definitely up to some.
Right.
Well, let me.
I do agree with you. I think everyone has an agenda.
I don't know. I didn't feel her character even when she was first introduced, and when Taystee, you know, was a little kid and talking to her. I didn't really feel her vibe to be positive.
Right.
I can understand that we're like in the hood when you're living that kind of a life. Like, unfortunately, you know, drugs are never good, and you shouldn't be dealing drugs. However, I understood where she was. She was trying to take care of these kids who had nothing else. They had nobody. So even though their structure of family was as messed up as it was still a family.
It was still family, and that's what I took from it too.
Unfortunately, you know, like
See, I didn't take it like that.
Well, that's what I did too, because we talked about it.
I took her as like a predator on kids who use kids for her own.
That's how I took it.
That's how I looked at
I feel like
it's so funny that we always divide it because I did feel like she did care. I mean, she didn't do in the sense that she
it
had
was
that
a way to get them to cooperate.
Seducing. She was seducing them by saying, "Look, let's go get something to eat, or let's do this, or let's do that, and I'll take care of you. You hang out of the house, whatever."
But that one scene when they were at home and she was making the soup and getting the bread and everything, I did feel like there was a moment that she did legitimately, like, it felt like a family thing.
That's all part of the show.
Like
no, but I do feel like
but
she's not perfect. She has an agenda, but I do feel like there was.
Like I said, I think don't get it twisted because
No.
she's still
She is.
a drug lord. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Don't get it twisted. Now.
No, she is, and she's not doing right.
But
She's not a good person in that sense.
But just because she's a drug lord doesn't mean that she still doesn't have any sense of family or she's not good deep down. Now, how that manifests itself is one thing.
It was them, and that was their life. Like she says, you don't get a career, you get a job. Like that's where her background was, and that's the only thing she knew.
Well, we also have a good sense of Taystee at this point. So you have to have some kind of character reference somewhere. And for me, just going through all of season 1 with Taystee and seeing what kind of girl she is, and she's really smart, and she's pretty much above board, really honest, really just, and then for her to have the kind of interaction with her that she did, that also just validated to me that V really isn't always,
she has an agenda.
You know what I'm saying?
She's a drug lord.
Yeah,
so
she has an agenda.
It goes beyond that. Like, she's not really honorable or trustworthy.
Right, well, when she disappears and
I
thought that was pretty crappy.
Right.
And,
so
no, she has an
it's hard
agenda.
out here for a pimp,
just
man.
like she said, like she said, where I'm from, Taystee's like, where I'm from, we call that chicken shit. So it was kind of like, even on hood level, on a hood standard, or from the neighborhood, that was still weak what you did and how you handled, when the going got rough. It basically was saying, yeah, you were there for us when everything was fine. We were all hanging out and everything was good. But when things got rocky, you were nowhere to be found.
Right.
But I do.
So that was a character flaw. That was an indicator right there of the kind of person that V is.
But again, I feel like that is true to true to her character, because again, if you're a drug lord, that is a very selfish thing, because you want a lot of quick money fast, and you're willing to sell a product to people that will kill them because you want money and you want it fast. So that, to me, that is very selfish. So from her profession, that should tell you right there, she's a selfish lady.
Yeah, she's up for her own agenda, because that's what she is manipulating. She's a great manipulator. And she has an agenda, and I want to learn more what it is in prison
I think that's a really good grand scheme way to look at it. But everything that you do is kind of like how you do it as opposed to what you do.
Right.
Like, you take Robin Hood, for example. If you want to look at the grand scheme, you'd be like, well, being a thief is bad. You can take, the grand overall and say, look, you're a thief, Robin Hood. That's no good. But how he's doing it, you can justify it and say, look, he's stealing from people that are no good. They're suppressors, and they're putting people in, you can actually go into detail about it. So just to me, how V is going about how she's doing what she's doing, just like how she, when she interacted with Suzanne.
Yeah,
right,
it was so evident that she was like, easy prey.
Exactly, manipulator. Yeah,
but I feel like that's how she got good at what she was good at. You know what I'm saying? You don't get good at being.
You had to be tough, and she had to be tough.
You have to read people, and you have to read them quick.
I don't think the argument isn't that she's not strong or that she did what she did to survive. But what we're arguing is that she didn't treat Taystee like family. That wasn't a family environment.
She's saying family, but she's not being family.
Right, but I think I can understand that, but I do say again, there is some element of family that's the only family that Taystee's ever known, and unfortunately, this is a lot of people's story.
For Taystee, it was
a lot of people's story. This is their view of family.
And they had a stability there, even if it wasn't healthy, and there was a manipulation. They did have a stability. They had a place to go.
That's all she had.
Food and
they had dinner together and stamped on the little
horsey horse
baggies,
the horsey horse,
family business,
But she is a manipulator, and I do want to know what her whole end game is here in prison, because the moment she came in, and you see that with Red too from their previous, that there's definitely,
and the fact that she knows Red, and it's like, how she know Red, and what's the history there? You're like,
or if that was I was trying to figure out, was that the first time they were in prison, or was it from something from way in the past?
I thought it was totally like, okay, maybe they were connected on the outside some kind of way or something like that.
They had
so
to be.
I'm like, okay, what is this all about? But when she went to approach Black Cindy for a favor, it would be, I'll be grateful. I was like, oh my gosh, she is so obvious right now, because she can see that Crazy Eyes is right there, and she's saying it loud enough where she can hear her, and is gonna manipulate her,
of course,
to go and
steal these smokes from the 80s.
Right.
Which it took me a second to realize.
Me too.
I really was like, when Crazy Eyes went to go get the cigarettes, I literally was like, hold on, how did they get in there?
So did
like,
I. That's what I was thinking. How did she get them in there?
Right. I was like, did somebody just put them in there? And then it wasn't until the very end I realized, oh my gosh, these have been in there since she was in prison the first time.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
Yeah, so she was there before.
Still in there.
And she was such a good, manipulator, getting glory. I mean, it was just, the whole thing was great.
Right,
But even see how she did that.
Yeah.
With the whole, getting the girls around her and forming that circle.
Yeah, that's why I like her,
and
'cause she's
that
good.
click again.
For some cake?
Good.
Man, that cake
Hey,
was good.
funfetti cake. Who wouldn't do it? I would.
Right, me too.
I'm like, hello.
So, it goes back. It goes back to
Which was Taystee's favorite, and she knew if she got Taystee, she'd get the rest of
Exactly.
it.
That's what I'm saying. She's good.
It goes back to the flashback of how she used food to get people in. She did the same thing again in prison.
She's good. I need to learn from her.
She knows, and she plays on people's insecurities and what she helps build them up, because at the end of the day, that's all we want. We want somebody who sees us, and she says that to Suzanne. She's like, I see you. You're what does she call it? A strong rose or something?
A garden rose.
A garden rose. You know what
and she's like,
you're strong black.
like, oh my gosh, really?
She knows she can read people.
Yeah, she
gotta
can.
give it to her. Gotta give it to V. I like her.
I do too. I love the character.
She made Red get her roots done.
That's right. I love
like
that
her.
character.
She was like, I need to look fierce.
That's
and
right.
thought-
She's like, this fierce.
I thought Red was, gonna fight her or
I did
something.
too.
And then
it was like
they
high noon when they walk down the hallway, they're ready to
Right. But I think there's a level of respect there, and Red
is.
knows when you deal with V, you gotta come correct. You can't be scared. You can't, don't show her your weakness, because she will prey on them.
Yep.
She knows how vicious V can be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if V's the one that's, build up her self-esteem to become the Red she is today.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, if you also think about it, like when she saw, this was another indicator, when she heard she was like shaving herself in the sink, right?
Yeah.
And then she heard somebody singing, and then she goes and she sees it's V, and then she turns the corner and she's like, oh,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right.
So now that tells you, for Red to have that kind of reaction, it was like in her core. It wasn't like, oh, this. It was like serious.
Yeah.
How she reacted. It was like a strong response. And then they also didn't show that V saw Red looking at her.
Right.
But later on,
When they meet in the hall.
V calls
her
out and says, why didn't you say hi? So that says that she has an all-knowing presence about everything that's going
That's why
around
I
that
like her.
environment.
Right.
That means she's like
She's
a beast.
good.
It's like, so
That's right.
that validates the whole thing with Red turning the corner, like, oh shit, like
Imagine she takes
Is
over
it
the
like-
kitchen too.
I know.
there's a formidable opponent
She
here.
is.
There's gonna be some greens and
Oh,
some cream
yeah.
corn in that kitchen soon. I feel it.
So
Feel it.
now, so here's the other thing that helps me villainize her before anything else has been validated, is the fact that although Red has done her dirt, so to speak, it's always been a justifiably righteous reason for whatever, you can always say, because let's say, okay, I can't remember the girl's name that got burned. What was the girl's name that worked in the kitchen with her?
Yeah, we were talking about this in the last episode, because when we were talking about how far Red had fallen.
Right.
And,
And to me, I'm not totally on board with, even though Red was responsible for lining the oven with oil or whatever, if one of the Latina girls had got burned, that same girl would have been like, yeah, got her, and we're gonna take the kitchen back. But like, it just happened to be one of her own. It was like friendly fire. It wasn't done on purpose. She didn't do it to her on purpose. She was trying to get the Latinas. She was trying to inflict one of them so she can actually try to take power of her kitchen back and then get them back under her wing and go. It wasn't intended for her own team. So I think, I think they're being unjustly hard on her.
Boo, because if I'm missing half my face, I don't care if you're my friend or not. You did this to me, I would be mad at you.
Yeah, but she didn't do it to her. She just did it, and she just was a victim of it. It wasn't like,
and if Emma burned your face off, you wouldn't be Emma's friend either, even if she didn't mean to.
No, but it's a difference between someone actually taking a blowtorch. I mean, it's a difference between someone.
So you'll be like, I forgive you because you didn't mean to burn. Give me these.
It was supposed to go to someone else.
Yeah,
but it's okay.
Well, I mean, it's like listen. If someone sets a bomb over there and then the bomb explodes and it wasn't intended for you, just happened to be over there and you weren't supposed to be over there, and you walk over there and the shit explodes.
You're still gonna be a little bit mad.
Exactly.
Even if
No, you're gonna be mad that you're burned, but it's also about the intention.
But no, you'd be upset because you're like, you're
crazy. Thaddeus.
I'm not crazy.
Hold on a second.
Even when you go to
Wasn't
court
she-
and you go to court for something, it's over intent.
No,
They asked you about intent. Was this first
still-
degree, second degree?
I don't care.
It doesn't matter. You
I'm
still got mad, and I
you.
still got hurt from your irresponsibility.
It wasn't her duty to clean, right? That day she was just assigned. Gloria
Right,
told her to clean.
Exactly.
So
It wasn't intended for her.
Red-
She wasn't even supposed to be there. That's the whole thing. That's what I'm saying. It was like,
But she took the opportunity because she was there. That's what I'm
what's
saying.
her name? What's her name?
We're like, what's her name? I don't know.
I can't remember her name. But she wasn't even supposed to be there. Gloria
No, but
just
she
happened to
was.
assign her. You're
So
right.
She had the opportunity. So
Gloria,
she was there.
Gloria just happened to assign her, and
Right.
then it just happened. It wasn't even supposed to happen because she was
Right.
assigned to the pantry. She wasn't even supposed to be like in the
Yeah,
kitchen.
they weren't
that's-
allowed to be in the kitchen. They were doing like stock inventory and
Right.
like getting stuff out of, outside. They were freezing. So
The point is, it still wasn't right. She still got injured
And
regardless.
that's
It wasn't
still
right.
part
You-
of Red's downfall.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about Tucky a little bit because Tucky is
I want to
lost
call her
the
Chucky.
Tucky. Just Chucky.
Do you notice?
Pincer Chucky.
I know.
Do you notice anything different about me?
Right. So she's
Oh my god.
she's in the laundry room and she's lost the there's conflict with Leanne, who's like seems to be the new like incumbent leader of the
Right.
crew, right? And she's doesn't have the respect of her old team anymore. On top of that, to add icing to the cake, she's making up with Piper, who's totally not down with this whole makeup scenario. They have to like call a truce or whatever.
That was gross in Caputo's office. I'm like, oh.
Well, he stopped himself. I think he caught
I
himself.
know,
and was like,
but it was
Yeah.
still like,
Eh.
oh, that was just like, oh, come on.
but he was doing that last season. Remember, he was like,
it was like, how you two hugged, and I'm like, because even as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, it's for his own master.
Right.
Like,
it was like I would have been like,
Gross.
a handshake is gonna suffice for now. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna hug her. It's not happening. Okay, so Morello finds out that Chris is getting married,
yep.
and she loses it on the phone.
Right.
Yeah.
This is when I was like,
She's
I
another
think she might
crazy
be
one.
nuts.
She is.
I think
She's-
she's more crazy than Crazy Eyes at this point.
Right.
No, I mean, just last season, you could see how she was obsessing over this whole wedding thing, and it was just like over the top. It was too much. Plus, she's like hooking up with Nikki. It was just too many conflicting things going on with Morello, and you're like, seriously, like,
Well, yeah, 'cause
something's going on with this
Something's
situation.
a little bit, too much. 'Cause
Something's
at first
off.
You're like, wow, she's really got it together. She gets to drive everybody in, and she goes off, prison
Right.
grounds. Like, wow, she's really stable. Like, they,
This guy never comes to visit her,
Well, yeah.
anything. So it's like,
but they make it seem like, okay, and like, okay, maybe he's far
Didn't
away.
they say
or-
he came to visit once, which she had just barely gone?
I don't remember that.
I don't know.
I think she
she
might have
said that. I think that's what I was like. I think
Okay.
she said, but I don't know. Again, guys, if you remember, tell us. But I do think she was the one that said they came once.
Right.
She was
visit.
like, to me, she reminded me of how Crazy Eyes was acting when she was 6 years old.
Right.
And
Yeah.
where someone over the phone had to tell her, calm down.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be a
Yeah,
good
like
girl
she's having a
now.
tantrum in
It
her
was-
own.
It was
way.
very unnerving, scary.
It was uncomfortable to kind
because
of watch that. I'm like,
you-
oh.
Which I have to give it to her. She's the actress that plays Lorna Morello is amazing.
Her
because
name
I feel
is
like
Yael Stone, I think.
yes,
it
because
is.
you see like the arcs of how
Yeah.
she went from crazy, like you saw a lot of emotions in that. You saw anger, you saw pain, you saw crazy, you saw happy, joy. I'm gonna put a lid on. Like it was a lot.
Well, especially when she got off the phone and
Right.
she was like, I'm fine. It was like,
Right,
this chick is nice.
right. Grace is
Those
like,
are the ones you got to be scared of.
Exactly.
Right. That's exactly how I felt at the end of this episode. I was like, I don't know.
I've experienced that.
I'm sure
won't
you
say any
have.
names, but so yeah. Next we have Larry. Larry has gone on a blind date,
Yeah.
hooked up with it. Listen, let me give you guys some advice out there. Unless you guys are like extremely tight with your parents and you know your parents like know you, I don't know if taking a blind date from your folks is like
Especially
the
as, like,
best idea.
a grown adult in your 30s. Like,
Right.
taking from, it's just that whole thing was so.
I think he just wanted them off his back. I don't think
Yeah.
he did
Right.
it to like, oh my god, I'm gonna find someone. I think he was just tired of hearing about.
I think
know-
he's trying to help himself get over Piper.
I think it was a little
That's-
both too because
Yeah.
but
And
you
she's a
knew-
pediatrician.
Yeah.
Oh my god, how annoying was she?
Right.
Oh, you don't have to do anything.
that was
I love that.
funny.
You're not.
She
oh
almost
my-
was like, "Oh my gosh, you're a loser. I love
I
it."
love that you're a loser and you
I
can be
can
home with the
control you.
kids.
Oh my god.
That was so weird. I was not expecting that though, because at first we were like, "Oh, a neurosurgeon, pediatrician."
Right.
I was like,
this
is that
smart.
another
Stalker. She's
Jewish
online.
joke that I'm not getting?
Online.
That was really
stalker.
funny.
Yeah, that was when she's like, "Oh, I love it. You have no ambition. That's fantastic. You can be at home with the kids. You do want kids, don't you?" And I'm like, "What?"
She was totally serious. I was like, is she being sarcastic or is she?
Right.
I couldn't figure it out at first, and I was like, no, she's serious.
She's serious. She's like, she
Dead
gets to control
serious,
everything.
yeah.
She's making the money. She's
He
like,
should've
yeah,
took
you
her
can stay
home.
home. I know, like, hey.
At least for one night.
Right.
Test it out. Anyway.
Take
So,
advice what his dad said, in episode
So.
2.
right. Oh, also, just to bounce back to Red real quick, we also noticed that when V was giving the girls cake, that Red stopped by the door.
Right.
And she notices how she was noticing how V was gathering the girls.
Oh, yeah, she was totally
she's
ingratiating
like,
herself
oh,
with the girl.
army,
She's totally
army
getting
is
them on her
being
Yeah.
side.
She's seen this before with V, and she
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
it's about to be the black woman takeover.
Right. And so, just to leave it off on a Piper note, since Piper, everything is from her POV, Piper puts Soso on notice.
Yeah.
Tough, big time.
Whoa.
Checked her. She
Checked
read her, as we
her.
say.
And,
she read her.
Yeah, she totally read her. Woo.
I'm almost scared of Piper now.
I know. I couldn't believe she said that. I was like, whoa.
She
Right.
used to be like, to me, like, oh, that's the girl you party with.
Yeah.
You know, white girl wasted, have a good time.
Right.
And now she's like,
I'm a vicious
wolf.
yo, it's like, that's the homegirl you call. It's like, you know what? You're like, I don't hit girls, but I have a friend named Piper, and I'm gonna have her beat your ass.
Right.
She's the homegirl now that you call
Yeah.
when you have a beef with a girl and you're a guy and you can't do anything. It's like, I'm gonna call my friend
Right.
Piper.
She's like,
And get her.
I'm the lone wolf bro and a vicious one.
Right.
Don't make me rip out your throat with my teeth.
Ugh.
Like, dang, girl.
I was like, oh,
Woo.
that was my expression.
She's not Pipes anymore.
She's
No.
not.
She's Piper.
Right. But no, I was going to say this because we
criminal.
didn't talk about Daya and Bennett.
Yeah.
And how they were in the library.
You know what? There's some stuff developing with that, and she's obviously. Go ahead, Megan.
I was going to say, I really like them together. I'm not going to lie. As forbidden and as wrong and twisted as it is,
I love it.
I love them
I do
together.
too.
There's just a
There
sweetness
is.
between these two. As weird as it
I'm
is.
waiting for that baby to come. I want to see what they're gonna do, how they're gonna
Right.
deliver it, and who's
Right.
gonna take care of it. The adoption process. I'm just like, this is a
Well, we haven't
right.
even get to the
mess.
point where everybody finds out that she's
Exactly.
pregnant.
Everyone finds
so
out, they find out who the
that's
father
going to be a
is.
whole other
I
can
have
of
a
worms.
question.
It is.
Do you guys think that, okay, of course, Daya is saying that she wants to tell the administration, and Bennett says no. What do you think? Should she tell administration?
I know it's a good one. I want to know what you guys think.
No,
because it's like,
I think just like
What do you
taking
think?
when you're taking the SAT and when you're prepping for it, they're like, your first guess is probably the right one. They came up with a very good plan in the beginning last season.
Right.
I think that's the plan they should stick to.
Okay.
They should blame it on porn stash. She already had sex with him, for crying out loud. That horrible experience now will be in vain if she don't go ahead and blame it on porn
I know,
stash.
it's-
And he deserves
But
it anyway.
but
He's responsible for
she-
Trisha dying. He's
Right.
done all kind of heinous things and acts while
But
he was
here's
in.
the thing. I don't think she was saying, I want to tell administration that you're my child's
Right.
father. She just wants to tell them that,
That
she's
she's
pregnant.
pregnant.
So she can still say it was porn
Right.
stash, but I think she was just saying, I want to go ahead and let them know.
But that
I'm
was already the
pregnant.
plan anyway.
Right,
They already
what I'm saying,
planned it.
but I feel like
But
now.
she wants to press it now and make it happen now. And go ahead and
Right.
tell.
Yeah.
Because she's still hiding
Because
it.
she could still be saying it's going to be porn
Yeah.
stash. She didn't say that, but I think, Bennett wants her to probably keep it quiet for as long as possible because,
If
let's
anything
wait till the
comes out-
last minute.
Right, because
before
everything comes
we-
out and they want to do any, type of DNA testing. There's all kinds of other things that are going to be brought up to the
Right.
surface, and it's just, it's messy. That's where it comes back to, there's no black or white here. There's so much gray on the moral, what's right, what's
Yeah.
wrong. And I just thought it was cute, though, when she's like, I need to, more folic acid, and I want to take care of this baby. And, he he's like, bring spinach or whatever. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
their whole relationship is just really cute.
I feel like she's getting a little frustrated.
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, she's
But she's got hormones going on
yeah.
and stuff like that, but she's
But
getting a little
she's trying
frustrated.
to do better than what her mom
her
did.
mom did,
She
and she
wants to
says
have the
that.
vitamins. She wants to, really take care of the baby. And
Well,
he
I'm
makes
not sure
a comment
if
which
her mom
she's,
had her in jail, so she's
she's-
not doing better at all.
well, she's emotional.
saying, like, she wants to be
you
better
didn't.
mom.
I'm sure you didn't take vitamins, so you came out okay. It's kind of like, no. You don't say
Right.
that.
I think it's more
yeah,
she
but
wants
he
to
said
be more.
my mom didn't either.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I
but
don't think anyone's in a certain time period didn't realize much because nobody really knew. I mean, it was just like
Right.
a couple generations ago, people were smoking and drinking when, so it's just people didn't know necessarily. But I do think what she means is that she wants to be a more present mom than her
More
mom was,
responsible.
and be a real mom to her,
Right.
to her kid. So
okay, all right.
yeah, it was a good
Granted,
scene.
it
I
was a
really
good
like them-
scene.
Yeah, I really like them together. We'll see what happens with them. She gets her prenatal vitamins.
Yeah, it's going to be
in.
very interesting how they figure all this prenatal care and all this stuff out, because it's really struggling with that right now.
And so for that storyline, I give them thumbs up. I love Di and Bennett, but I will give thumbs down to Larry. Because of him, and I can be a part of the expose. You can use me when he was telling the reporter that he's like, instead of like, you know, me putting you in contact with Piper, hey, I can be the person that helps you with
so
it.
Desperate.
He just wants to get his career
he
off
does.
the ground.
I get it, but it just came across desperate.
But they're building the story probably for how he's gonna get back into contact with Piper and how it's gonna develop the relationship.
Right.
So they have to find a way in.
Right. And which is good. But I still don't like
I don't either.
Larry.
It just came across as desperate to me. But, you know, there we go.
Larry. Yeah. I have mixed feelings about the Larry scenario. Even though the kind of guy he is like, you know, he's the kind of guy I would go watch the game and have a few beers with. Probably not. But just in his situation, he kind of got effed over, you know, in this situation, you know, and then how Piper kind of did him wrong. Kind of did him wrong.
I mean, what do you expect? Your fiance's in prison. Blink, blink, blink. I mean, what do you... she's in prison. She has to survive. She's trying to live.
No, but she didn't have to mess with Alex to survive.
You're right.
But that was also her ex. There was a history there. There's so much more layers there than just like hooking up with someone in prison.
But we went through this last, season. You know how he lied to her about Alex being in there. Sides. So
there's neither one of them are completely innocent.
They're made for each other, in my opinion. Get back with her. Get back with.
Okay.
With good old pipes.
Do we have any news and gossip for this week? For this episode?
No, we don't.
Okay. So, where can we find you guys till next time?
As always, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream. Let me know what you think about this episode.
Ice cream. You can find me at SMan80 on Twitter. That's SMAN80.
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at RealMK.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Club Thaddeus and GQJedi.com. You can also find me here Mondays at 7 p.m. covering Star's original series, Power, executive produced by 50 Cent, starring Omari Hardwick. Until next time, After Buzzers.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.